Hey everybody, this is Josh Runquist here for another edition of Up Today and What I Missed for July 26th, 2024. In case you were paying attention, I took off last week, but I'm back now with 16 brand new albums. 8 out today, 8 have missed along the way. Let's get into it. First up, we have Disloyal with Divine Miasmata. This is a Polish death metal band that you may or may not be familiar with. If you like the likes of Vader and maybe some Behemoth, I think you'll find something to really enjoy about Disloyal. They are very much on the brutal side of death metal, but they also know how to add dynamics in just the right spots to make things very interesting. Add some very fantastic production and songwriting to all this, and it makes it a very fun listen from start to finish. While the band doesn't reinvent the wheel, they don't need to. They have their signature blend of death metal, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And if you're looking for something that's just pure brutality with the right amount of dynamics, Disloyal is a band for you. Next up, we have Dream Evil with Metal Gods. The 7th album from this legendary heavy metal and hard rock band is everything that you imagine from Dream Evil. It pays tribute to metal of days gone by, while still having their own signature blend of that pure, unadulterated heavy metal, power metal, hard rock sound. This album is exactly what you would expect from Dream Evil in 2024. Be that a good thing or a bad thing will be up to you. I know Dream Evil is quite divisive, but I will say, having been able to check out this album, I really enjoy what they're doing here. It's another album that does not need any reinvention. Dream Evil knows what they're all about, and they want to give it to you in the best way possible, and if this is what they're doing in 2024, sign me up. This is classic heavy metal at its finest. Next up, we have Duskwalker with Underground Forever. And this is such an enjoyable blend of old school death metal and thrash metal combined perfectly to create something that's really horror-esque, raw but distinguishable production, great songwriting that really knows how to do some more of the slower, heavier old school death metal, and then be able to switch things up to make it a little more thrashy death metal at the same time. It's a perfect throwback album while still sounding like it's from 2024. If you're looking for something with that Swedish old school death metal sound, maybe mixed with something like Sodom or Creator, you need to check this out immediately. Next up, we have Mountaineer with Dawn and All That Follows. And this album was a complete left of center turn for me, as this is the first time I've heard this band, but seeing what they've done over 5 albums now, and checking everything out before this one now, I love where this band is at in 2024. If you're not familiar, imagine a very thought-provoking mix, but super catchy collaboration of Devin Townsend, Cult of Luna, Torch, and Baroness style music, all combined to create something that feels like post-rock, mixed with doomgaze, mixed with sludge pop. And if that's way too far out for your subgenres, just let your ears do the talking, and be able to check this out and see if it's for you. It's super catchy, but it knows when to get sludgy, it knows when to get more posty when the time comes. But overall, this is one of the most magnificent albums I've heard in 2024, and I can't wait for all of you to check it out. Next up, we have Orpheus Omega with Emberglow, and this is the 5th album from this fantastic style of melodic death metal, and it has everything that I look for in melodic death metal: knowing when to be brutal, knowing when to make things more melodic, knowing the right spots to put in clean vocals but really focusing on the growls, and of course having some super catchy songwriting and a production that is so sleek and really needed to give them the attention that they really deserve. Not that they didn't have that on previous albums, but this album feels like it's a step above, and I really love what's going on here. And if you want some super awesome melodic death metal, you need to check out Orpheus Omega. Up next is Respire with High Wraith, and this album I am still trying to wrap my mind around. If you like post anything and some avant-garde moments, this should be for you. This band's not afraid to go from basically post-hardcore to post-rock to post-black in the turn of a dime, and it all feels together seamlessly. It has some of that great post-hardcore emo moments, sometimes vocally, sometimes lyrically, sometimes in the instrumentation, sometimes it has has that grandiose post-rock feel that almost feels orchestral, with some woodwind and brass moments, kind of like Godspeed You Black Emperor. And then all of a sudden you'll hear some moments of deaf heaven that absolutely just makes your jaw drop, wondering how it got there, but it feels so seamless. This is not an album for the fan of heart, but if you are a fan of post-everything, you need to give this brand new album from Respire a shot. Next up is Scald with Ancient Doom Metal, and this is pure, unadulterated, epic doom metal. If you're looking for something in the likes of Candlemass, maybe a little bit of Cathedral, but really Candlemass, this is the band for you. It is pure Candlemass worship, from the production style, the songwriting, the instrumentation, everything about it. I will say the production is a little bit better than those early day Candlemass albums. Well, of course it's 2024, you really have to work hard to make it suck, but seriously, this is some fantastic stuff. Everything fits like a glove, and it's my kind of epic doom metal. And if you're looking for that, because we haven't had too much in 2024, but if you want this, it's out there. Go check it out. Next up, we have Summoning the Like with Under the Reviled Throne. And this is a band that I never really paid attention to until this album, but I'm so glad that I did check them out for this album, and I was able to go back and check out their previous material, because I think it is very fair to say that Under the Reviled Throne is their best album to date. Before this, they really knew how to focus on the technical death metal, deathcore, all that stuff, but especially on this album, I can hear so much more influence of mellow death and mellow black on here. It feels like a nice healthy dose of the Black Dahlia Murder mixed in with technical metal and deathcore. I know this won't be for everybody, and I know the vocals won't be for everybody, but for those that are looking for something like this is the sweet spot. Seriously, go check out Summoning the Like. And finally, for brand new albums out today that I'm covering is Vernie with Dreadful Company. And yes, this is the sophomore album from D.D. Vernie of Overkill, and this is what I was hoping for. It is punk, it is pop rock, it is heavy metal. It is the perfect combination of all three of those while sounding so super catchy and fun, while still showing tribute to the triangle of influences that D.D. Vernie is best known for. This is for the CBGB's crowd, this is for the Warped Tour crowd, this is for the Headbangers Ball crowd. It's all done in perfect harmony, and at just a little over 45 minutes, it's just long enough to fulfill everything that you'd want for this, and definitely come back for more. I really love what he's doing with this album, and I'm so glad that this was able to come out here in 2024. If you want punk, pop rock, and metal, it doesn't get better than this. And now we got the stuff that I missed over the past couple weeks, starting with Arkanen Azrafoko with Diziko. And if I got that wrong, I am so very, very sorry. But I will say, I am not horrible at finding some truly remarkable music, and that's what I hear with this album. Their first album with Rising Phoenix Records, this has everything that I'm looking for in a band like Sepultura, Soulfly, Orange Sky, and even The Who, HU, not the UK band. It has this great sense of kind of hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, all done with tribal drumming accompanying all of it. And I love it so very, very much. It has so much groove to it, it gets nice and heavy, and it knows when to genre bend at just the right moments. Everything that I'm looking for in this style is here, and I didn't even know I was looking for it. This is some absolutely fantastic stuff, and please check out the name, not my pronunciation, so you can know where to check this band out. Up next is Black Lava with The Savage Winds of Wisdom. This is the sophomore album from a more or less side project of the band A Million Dead Birds Laughing, which of course is more layered in grind and death metal, and Black Lava is more atmospheric blackened death metal. And it's done with such efficiency and conviction. It's one of the strongest albums of the blackened death metal releases of 2024. Dan Preslin of A Million Dead Birds Laughing and formerly of Niavla is drumming on this album, and while he doesn't go absolutely insane with his prog chops and absolute blast beats all the time on this album, he knows how to groove, he can show off some of his heaviest drumming that he's ever done, and everything again is done with such conviction. This album is just fantastic from start to finish if you're looking for that nice blend of atmospheric and blackened death metal. And if you've never checked them out before and that sounds like it's your bag, seriously, give this one a shot. Next up is Ever Forthright with Tech and Flux, and this is a band that I've always missed out on, and then it dawned on me that their debut album came out 13 years ago, right before I started doing That Drummer Guy, and now Heavy Debriefings. And now 13 years later, they finally have their sophomore album out, so that would explain a lot. Talking about Tech and Flux, I really prefer this one. While there is still some genty moments on here, there's some more poppier moments, there's jazz moments, there's avant-garde moments, there's a lot of technical electronic moments that happen as well too, and Chris Barretto is just an amazing singer, and I understand why he was in Periphery for a bit of time. This is one of the most mature albums that I've heard in the progressive metalcore, or gent as you kids like to call it, and jazz that I've ever heard. It is quirky, but it is very matured, and I love the way this sounds, and if that sounds like something that's for you, you should seriously give this one a shot. Up next is the legendary Orange Goblin with Science, Not Fiction. Almost 3 decades into the band's career, and the band still continues to put out some of their finest work with every consecutive album, and this album is no exception. It what really feels like a thematic, maybe concept album, but really it's not. All these songs are connected by the idea of basically a retro future look at the modern times and the downfall of our society. While it's not the cheeriest of albums, this is an album that is rockin' and killer for those end times, and if everything's gonna be gone, at least we have a great soundtrack for it. It is hard rock, it is heavy metal, almost thrash, and a little bit of stoner metal. That's what Orange Goblin is best known for, and they continue to do it finer than anybody in 2024. Up next is Palace with Reckless Heart. 2024 has been a fantastic year for AOR, and Palace is absolutely no exception. While it's a bit more on the poppy side than it is the hard rock or metal side that could be incorporated into AOR, it is that perfect blend of that 80s sound that you're looking for, that 80s pop rock, glam, little bit of metal, little bit of hard rock. It feels like everything is here, from the chase scenes of Miami Vice to slow dances for your 80s prom night and everything in between. This is a fantastic poppy AOR 80s style album. And again, if you're looking for something that is that throwback but made in 2024, seriously, give this one a shot. Up next is Turin with The Unforgiving Reality in Nothing, and I just love what's going on here. This is a sophomore album from this UK band that really combines what's really popular right now with that Lorna Shore kind of sound of the atmospheric and symphonic deathcore, but they also do something completely different when it comes to that, where they add more black metal, they add more death metal, they add more hardcore, post-metal, all of that combined. You'll hear some of the most crushing breakdowns with some of the most symphonic death metal, black metal that you could ever find in a band that could be associated with the Lorna Shore style of music. They've been tearing things up all over Europe and the UK, and I think it's about time that they make it over here to the US. If you like bands like Lorna Shore, and especially bands like Of Sulfur, you need to check out Turin. And finally, an album that might be one of my favorite albums of 2024, the brand new album from Werewolves, We Die For Us. The band has done 5 albums in 5 years, from 2020 to 2024, each consecutive year, and each album keeps getting more intense and more creative. It's absolutely insane with their style of brutal death metal, mixed in with a little bit of tech death, a little bit of black metal, and absurdity, and just the right amount of clips to make things a little bit chuckle-worthy as you're getting blown away by all the chaos that's surrounding you. No album is ever 35 minutes long. It's all 35 and under. I love what's going on here. All killer, no filler, just absolutely punishing, heavy, unrelenting death metal. If that's what you want, that's what Werewolves gives every single time. And there you go, folks, another edition of Out Today and What I Missed. 16 new albums, the most I've covered in one sitting since January 2024. With 9 new albums out today and 7 I missed along the way. Sorry for the miscommunication. But what do you think, folks? Did you like what you heard? Did you not like what you heard? Is there anything I missed out on? Do I suck from my own personal opinion? Let me know all of this and more down below. And of course, like, comment, share, subscribe. The more you do that stuff, the more this can reach out to people who might be interested in this as well, so please help me out. I truly appreciate it. And make sure to come back next week for the August 2nd edition of Out Today and What I Missed, which is not only the first one of August, but it is also the 13th anniversary of when I started as that drummer guy and now into Heavy Debriefings. That'll be a fun one. But until then, for the Heavy Debriefings YouTube channel, this is Josh Ronquist saying, embrace the skullet.